This might be one of my favorite interviews on CNN. Pay attention to it at the beginning of the portion and at the end of the portion and see if they align logically to you and your brain.
So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis just signed a bill that would ban social media accounts for children under 14 and require permission for 14 and 15-year-olds, parental permission. I'm curious what you think about that bill.
I think that goes too far. I mean, there are a number of people on social media who may be LGBTQ plus, who may need that outlet in terms of for building a community. But what I would say is that you should not have any collection of data on minors, and that you need to make sure that the social media isn't feeding algorithms to young people that is encouraging depression, that is encouraging eating disorders. So there are bills that we need to be passing to protect minors. I think an outright ban on 14 and 15-year-olds goes too far.
Congressman Ro Khanna, great to see you.
So we have to have the bill. We have to allow 14-year-olds to be on social media because it's a safe place for LGBTQ plus people. But we should also be careful that social media algorithms are pushing kids towards depression, anxiety, and eating disorders. We're not a serious people. we just aren't. We aren't serious at all. There's a problem with these kids. They're getting so much anxiety and depression. They're developing even eating disorders at 14 years old. I mean, what were you doing at 14 years old? Were you having eating disorders? Probably not. But these kids are. But they also need to be on these platforms that are giving them eating disorders, anxiety, and depression because it's their community. Social media is a huge problem for teens. And their brains are not fully developed. And so many people don't understand that. These aren't adults. They're dealing with new things. They can't think about the same concepts that you can think about because their brains aren't fully developed yet. I know that's like very triggering for teenagers to hear that, but you aren't as smart as you will be in the future. You can't logically think about issues the way you will be able to in the future. And so it makes sense that social media's negative effects are being directly impacting the youth because their brains can't comprehend the same way you and mine can, where we can watch a video that is triggering or something like that and disassociate and know it's the internet. It's not happening in front of me. That's why if we don't like somebody, we just turn off the television. We turn off the channel. We unsubscribe. We dislike. Whereas these kids are seeing people with different opinions and they feel like it's actual violence. And that's why it gives them so much anxiety in life to the point where they are developing depression, anxiety, eating disorders, addictions, whatever. Even suicide rates are incredibly high for teens in today's world that no one wants to have a conversation. Drug addiction, skyrocketing kids in today's culture. All kinds of new addictions are being made. New dysmorphias are being. We don't want to have that conversation. So it's important for them to be on social media because being on social media is their community. How about some of these kids start looking around to other kids around them and becoming friends with people? I know that there is going to be bullies and terrible people in school, but those bullies are much easier to deal with than the trolls online who feel like have free reign on you and have no consequences to anything they say. You can't beat up a bully on TikTok. You can't finally... you tell on someone. You can report these people and block these people, but then they just create new accounts and they keep following you. It's just part of the whole troll game. It's like you have like 6 or 7 burner accounts, and then once you get banned, you just come back again. Once you get banned, you come back again. I think social media for kids is a horrible idea. I think it completely takes away some of their creativity and boredom. And I think some of the best things in life are created out of boredom, are created out of dreaming. You can't dream if you're being sucked into a TikTok hole where all you do is doom scroll and constantly scroll, where it's like one moment is happiness, hilarious, comedy, and the next moment it's depression, war, the left is going after you, the right is going after you. These people want to take away your rights as an individual, and kids cannot comprehend that kind of stuff. They don't know what propaganda is. That's why they don't want to take away social media for these kids. They don't want to take away their propaganda because they can strong arm these social media companies to put out, like he says, the algorithms, put out the algorithm that favors their ideology and what they deem as good for the republic or the democracy. It's really sad that they see your children as pawns to be used for future power. It's so depressing. Holy crap, dude. These people don't care. I have children myself, and I would never. You talk to some of these CEOs in these big major corporate companies that don't allow their children on social media, and then who are in charge of their own social media, like Mark Zuckerberg. I would not let my kids on Instagram, but then you push it down kids' throats. Oh, I'm not. I would never let my kids use the drugs. I'm just a drug dealer. I'm not the problem. I would never allow my kids to use the things that I sell that make us rich. It's incredible. It's just incredibly sad. And the worst part is these politicians are paid by some of these social media companies to spout this absolute nonsense. That's why they'll say things at the end that make sense, but at the beginning, it makes no sense because, oh, daddy's got to collect a paycheck. I'm telling you, if these politicians were forced to live in minimum wage lifestyles or forced to be paid in minimum wage or whatever, or just like $30,000, they weren't allowed to take any bribes, weren't allowed to make any money, weren't allowed to do book deals, weren't allowed to do stock trading, all that kind of stuff, none of these people would be in this position. And things would actually get done and it would actually be a public service. Imagine if like being in politics was you doing it for free. It was a service. Okay. Have a wonderful day. And remember that these politicians will use your children and lie to your face in order to manipulate and push their propaganda down your throats. Have a wonderful... Oh, God. Please like and subscribe. And if you don't mind dropping a comment at the bottom, it really helps me out because I know this is times of high inflation. But the best way to support your favorite content creators is dropping a like and writing a comment. It's good for the algorithm. Thanks, guys.